Welcome to the Peak Revival podcast. My name is Vesna, and today I want to talk about depression and also hormonal related depression like perimenopausal depression. And I want to share a case study of a client that I just spoke to, Kim, who has been through the Buh-Bye Burnout program, her results, what she did to get those results, and her transformation at the end. So Kim joined the program. She was, as she said, in a very dark place. She'd been heavily medicated for depression. She started having depressive symptoms perimenopausally. So as her hormones started to change, she said, I tried every HRT that there was known to mankind, and I've tried every program and nothing was helping. And she said it was a really dark place. It was affecting her relationship with her husband. She had no libido. Her mood was very low. She had poor stress tolerance. She was almost on the brink of divorce, okay? And it was affecting all areas of her life. She joined Buh-Bye Burnout and she said, this is the last one I'm going to try. Now, when she started, she didn't do things exactly the way that we normally map them out, because as you go through the program, we get you to implement small habits over time, because most people come in, they're really overwhelmed, they're really overstressed. Their capacity to take on new information is a bit limited. And so we try to do these very simple habits, say day by day by day, and they build. And so you're feeling better, you're feeling clearer, and you're feeling on top of things, and you can take more on, right? But Kim did the accelerated version where she just did everything from get-go, which is not what we recommend, but she has done it that way. And by week 2, she said she just felt so much clearer. She noticed that she could focus on her work for longer periods of time. And her husband said to her, so you've got to imagine she was stuck in this place for 5 years, and on week 2, she's already seeing these changes. And her husband says to her, goes, I don't want to call it too early. He goes, but you're back. Like, you're back. She said they both noticed and they're really excited. She had more spark. She said, I just felt amazing, right? She can deal with stress better. And honestly, at the end, when I spoke to her, I actually got tingles. We both did. She said, me and my husband were talking last night, and my husband said, this program saved you, right? And she said, if it wasn't for this, she goes, we would be divorced now. Now, I'm not trying to give the program a promotion here, okay? I'm not trying to give it a big plug. What I want to emphasize is the transformation that she went through, how quickly it was. Now, that's not typical, okay? But it was a quick transformation for someone who'd been stuck in this place for a long time. And I want to talk about what she did, right? So if you're struggling in this place, there is answers, there is a solution, right? And when you get to the heart of the problem, the real cause, you can see shifts quite quickly, right? So what did Kim do? The first thing that we do in the program is reduce stress hormones. So it's small habits like cutting out caffeine, getting to bed on time, everything to shift your body out of fight or flight mode. So your body can't heal when you're stuck in fight or flight mode. So we have the stress response and then we have the healing response, right? And, either we're stressed or we're in the healing response. And so when you're in that fight or flight mode, it doesn't matter what supplements you take, what medicine you take, whatever it is, the system is over-revved and it cannot enter that state where it can heal itself quite rapidly, okay? And so in that first week, she also implemented some other dietary changes like going gluten-free and dairy-free, which we recommend later on because of the impact to mental health. Particularly gluten and dairy can create a lot of inflammation, which affects mental health. And so she did that from the very beginning, which is overwhelming. So we don't normally recommend that, but that is why she saw the results by week 2, right? So she saw these results very quickly by putting her body back into balance, by reducing the stress hormone. She didn't change anything about her life, okay? So her life, she was working and had the same responsibilities, but her system relaxed. Her system slowed down, okay? And then everything can repair itself. The next part is the mind as medicine. So she noticed that, which is what I see for a lot of people, is that she said, I was stacking my stresses throughout the day. This would go wrong and then that would go wrong and then I've got this problem, I'm worried about this, and so it would just stack, right? And then she'd have massive anxiety and all of that stress, all this overthinking creates a lot of stress and it just burns the brain out and it is exhausting for the brain. And we have chemical neurotransmitters or chemistry in our brain that needs to be balanced in order to balance our mood. And so when that's just in overdrive, you can imagine we're just burning through so much of that eventually we don't have those important chemicals to keep our mood balanced, okay? And so she noticed that when she could see, actually, that's what I do. I stack my stresses and I build them up over the day and I carry them with me, right? So part of the Mind is Medicine part in the program, we really focus on not trying to change your outside life, right? Because there's always going to be challenges and stress that pop up in our life. That is life. It's our ability to still create health and mental health and healthy relationships, even though we have those challenges. And that's an inside job, okay? And so a lot of that happens because we have way too much mental stress. We carry way too much on our minds and we don't realize it. And that is keeping the body in this fight or flight mode, okay? That is the biggest handbrake that we have to having more energy, having better moods, having higher libido, sleeping better at night, burning body fat for energy. That is the biggest disruptor to that. So the first parts of the program are reducing stress hormones. We're not working on gut. We're not doing any other kind of system repair because that is doing the repair work, right? As we bring those stress hormones down, you're getting out of fight or flight mode and you're entering healing state and the body is rapidly healing, okay? And that's what Kim noticed, that her symptoms disappeared so quickly after she'd struggled with them for 5 years. The next part is gut repair. The gut affects our mood. We produce a lot of our healthy chemical neurotransmitters important for our brain. We produce them in our gut. And so there's a link between the gut and the brain. We know this via the gut-brain axis. I've talked about this. And so the brain goes, we create a lot of inflammation through food, through medication, through caffeine, through alcohol, through stress, right? And processed foods, sugars, etc. That inflames our gut and it inflames our brain. So it's kind of that what they call is like the brain on fire. And again, it's disrupting our neurotransmitters, that healthy balance in our brain, and it's disrupting our mood. So we repair the gut, restore the microbiome, make sure that anything in there that is causing any harm, any imbalance in bacteria, any low amounts of good bacteria, all of that is corrected, okay? And then moving on to a detox, because we know that a lot of the toxicity creates more inflammation in the body and inflames the brain as well. It affects our thyroid function, it affects our hormones. That's the whole process that she went through. And like I said, by the end of it, she said, this program saved her life, which is an amazing transformation. And, like I said to her, well done, because you did the hard work, right? You did it. You were in a really hard place. You were in a really dark place, felt really stuck, but you did this massive overhaul more quickly than I would ever recommend. But you got the transformation, you got the massive change, and that's, congratulations to you for doing the work and moving forward. Keep moving forward, right? Not doubting yourself, not holding yourself back, not sabotaging yourself, not saying it's too hard, whatever it is, right? So, I think for her, that's a massive, massive congratulations, because it's not easy making these changes, right? We come up against our own roadblocks. If you're stuck in this place, like sometimes women are just like, I need to fix my hormones. That's where it's at, right? But for Kim, she did that and she was still stuck in the same place, right? And so we have to look at the body holistically about what is causing these imbalances. We can't just treat one hormone or one area and hope for the best, right? And so if you're stuck in this place, I wanted to share this to show you how quickly change can happen and how quickly transformation can happen. It's not typical. I'm not saying that, if you come in and you're going to get those results, but what I wanted to showcase was the potential for that, the potential for change, and potential for change quicker than what you realize, okay, when you are getting to the heart of the problem. So I'd love to hear in the comments below, is this you? Do you resonate with this? Is this something that you've struggled with? And is maybe looking at this in a more holistic way, is that something that you need to do? I'd love to hear your comments below.